side-facing view is the easiest way to draw because there's no perspective shifts in the eyes or the mouth or the nose. So let's walk through it. First, we'll draw a circle for the skull. And then I'll split that in half. This reference is really easy because her face is straight up and down and not tilted at all. I'll also split the top half into thirds, the bottom half into thirds, and I'll make a line for the jaw. And to help us out here, I'm going to extend the top hairline across this circle. This is our brow line. It's already extended across the circle. And this bottom one for our nose line across the circle. And I'll also kind of extend the jaw out a little bit. Now, just like in the 3/4 view, we need to cut off the sides of the head. On our reference photo, right here is the side of the face. So this is the side plane of the face. So back to our reference, I'm going to draw a circle. That is the height of our brow and nose line. And that's going to help me figure out where the sides of the face are. Now I'm going to try and decide how wide I want to make her jaw. Now you might find it helpful to erase the wider part of this circle at this point. Okay, now I'm going to just plop her ears in there because I know her ears are in the back corner of those half circles. And I'm going to decide how wide is her jaw. So I'll say her jaw is about this wide. Now I'll connect the jaw to the ears. So you can see really clearly in this photo, her jaw comes down and then angles over. So I'm going to decide how far down I want her jaw to come down from the ears, and then I'll angle it over to however wide I've decided her jaw will be. And let me erase this extra right here, because that's how wide I decided her jaw was going to be. One mistake that I used to make was that I would make the curve of the jaw different on each side. So can you see here that I went a little bit further down from the ear before I angled over? So one thing that you might want to watch is like thinking like, okay, this is about as far down as the jaw goes there. So I'm going to make sure it goes down that far there. Paying attention to these little measurements can really help you make sure that your face looks correct. Now she's got a really distinct jawline, so I might spend a little bit of time finessing this. And there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of extra time to make sure that you get the shape that you want. Now finally, I want to draw a line that goes from the wide part of the jaw up into the quadrant up here, up to right above the ear. And I'm going to shade this in so that you can see it a little bit better, but that is also a side plane of the face. Next, we'll draw in the eye sockets. And remember, the eye socket is the whole eyeball, the area underneath the eyeball where there's a lower lid, and the eyebrow itself. I'm going to mark out how far over the eye sockets will go, and I'm going to pay attention to this little dip right here. Draw that in, and then create that M shape of where I'm going to lay out the eyebrows. And then I will come down to this middle line right here to complete our eye socket. Now I'll draw some circles to represent where the eyes are going to fit in here. This will be much easier than trying to draw this in the 3/4 perspective because the eyes are going to be the exact same size. If I draw a circle to represent the eye here and a circle to represent the eye here, they're going to be the exact same size, and the space between them should also be the same. You can measure this by taking your finger and the pencil to kind of eyeball, no pun intended, how far apart those eyes are. If you're using Procreate, you can actually grab these eyes and place them on top of each other to make sure that they're at the same size. And you can duplicate them and drag this in the middle to kind of make sure, like, hey, are those eyes actually perfectly 3 widths apart? So back to my drawing, I'm going to get them as close in size and distance apart as possible. So at this point, I'm going to create a new layer, or if you're using pen and paper, make sure that you draw more heavily at this point. I'm going to reduce the opacity on my initial sketch layer here. Again, if you're using pencil and paper, you can just lightly erase. And I'm going to quickly just draw in my eyes. Again, we'll go over how to draw the features in detail in another lesson, but it's going to drive me nuts if I don't have eyes at all. And I'll draw in my eyebrows. So next we're going to block in our nose. So if I think about that keystone, I'll notice that it dips down here, and I think it really stops going inwards about here. So now we're going to put in the bottom plane of the nose. The bottom of the nose is just about that eye width apart, and then this is going to be the top of that bottom section. So I'm going to connect that top plane. So right here, there's where that top box connects there, and then the side of the nose connects right there. Let's try it on our reference drawing. So I'm going to draw the keystone, which dips down probably till about there. Her keystone is really wide. Then I'm going to draw the bottom of the nose. Again, it's probably going to come out to there. Connect the top plane of her nose, and then mark out the sides of her nose. Now I'm just going to add some shading in here to kind of give it that 3D look. I'll also shade in some of the eye sockets. Now let's mark out the mouth and the chin. Again, so from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, we're going to split it in thirds. One for the center of the lips and one for the top of the chin. So I'll mark the center of the lips and the chin. And the width of the mouth usually comes down to about the center of where the eyes are. And now we'll draw the hair. So one thing that I noticed right here is there's this really fun curve and curve right here that really kind of creates a flow with her hair. With hair, you are welcome to exaggerate and push the shapes a little bit further because hair moves so much. So easily this could blow in the wind. And if you think it would look really cool to have it like sweeping around a lot, you can do that in your photo. You can do that in your drawing because this is just a reference. We're not trying for photorealism. Also, I noticed there's a really fun dips along here that I'm going to try and mimic in my hair shapes. Since this is our hairline, I know that the hair is going to kind of separate right here. I'm going to draw it a little bit bigger than the skull because our hair has volume. And there we have our final sketch. From here, I could come in and refine my sketch. So for example, I think that her eyes are a lot bigger in the reference photo, and I'd like to emphasize that. So if I were to come and refine this sketch, I would make sure that I made the eyes a little bit bigger, and the lip maybe even a little bit smaller. Our initial sketches are just that. They're just initial. I don't want you to feel like the first lines that you make are the perfect ones. Even I don't make my first lines perfect. I come back and I refine and I adjust, and that is a normal process. All right, let's do a quick recap. When we're drawing the face in the front view, we draw a circle for the skull and we split it in half. We split the top into thirds, the bottom into thirds, and we add one extra third for our jawline. We add some circles on the side to represent the sides of the face, and then we define the jawline. You can also draw your ears in at this point too. We'll define the eye sockets and mark out our eyeballs, making sure that they are equal size and equal distance apart, and correcting if they aren't. And if you don't get it right on the first try, that's okay. You can correct it. You can also add necklines. Then we'll lighten our sketch and start adding the features with darker lines. We'll add the bottom shape of our nose and the keystone in between the eyes. Then we'll connect the top plane of the nose and then the side planes. Then we'll measure out and place our lips. And then you can start adding the outlines for your hair. And if you want to get fancy, you can add a little bit of shading on the underside of the nose, on the upper lip, in the eye sockets, and even in the side of the face.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.